Assalamu alaikum. Against a backdrop of decaying moral standards and values, youth crimes are on a rampant rise in our country. There is a climate of constant fear, terror and anxiety due to an increase in murders, stab attacks and other violent crimes. It goes without saying that the issues we are talking about do have their roots and remedies, but what are the roots of youth crimes and violence? What are the repercussions? And more importantly, where are the remedies? I'm Zaishan Ahmed, and this is The Fourth Estate. This week, to help us confront the issue of youth and crime, we have with us tonight award-winning psychologist and writer, Dr. Aishat Ali Naz, who I must say is a woman who needs no further introduction. She was on this show back in January to talk about mental health, and tonight she's back to share her insights on our theme this week. Dr. Naz is a consultant clinical psychologist and the head of the Maldives Institute for Psychological Services, Training and Research, MIPSTA, and she is also a certified international gang specialist trainer. Dr. Naz, welcome back. First of all, let me ask you, how does it feel to be on this show again?
It feels good because I really enjoyed my presence in the last episode, and I think it also gave access to my knowledge or experience with a lot of young people. So it feels good to be back on this show. Thank you for inviting me.
Glad to know that. Now, moving on to our theme for this week, it is youth and crime. So to get ahead with this conversation, we need to establish what youth means. So in your opinion, how do you define youth?
Yeah, I think if we look at it, different people have defined youth in different ways. But if we go into a very general meaning, it is a period of transition when somebody is moving from being a child, and being an adult, the phase in between. So in childhood, you are sort of like dependent on people. And then as an adult, you become independent. So this transitory phase you go through, you could say, is a period when you are in your development phase. You can be called a youth. Some people may go in a very say that people like defined by age group. Those within the age group of 15 to 24 or 35. In the Maldivian context, we understand youth from the age of 18 to 35. We often say, and different people do say so. But I think that youth is that period in which we realize our role in society and how interdependent we are with each other. And this is the phase where you move from compulsory education to the stage of employment. When you become a productive member of the society, you are no longer a child, you are going to be an adult, and that phase on what you become, how you grow in that phase of growth in development.
So is it mainly a very difficult phase? Because I understand that it is a transitional phase. You're moving on from being a child to an adult, and there are so many complications, complexities that a child or a person has to face during this period. My question to you is that youth and crime today are being used in the same sentence. So what are the factors that affect criminal behavior? Why is youth being involved in crime during this transitional phase?
There are several reasons. There are several ways in which we could understand. One has to first understand, I'd like to give it a positive angle. Every youth do not get involved in criminal activity. Every youth does not become an aggressive or violent person. But somehow, especially in our society, the idea, the moment you say youth, you have these stereotype images that he's a criminal, he's into, perhaps he was a juvenile delinquent, he must have been a problematic child, he must be having a criminal record, so many stereotype images or ideas come to us about youth. Now, going back to how does one become, there are several theories. For example, some of the psychological theories do say that childhood issues are related to this. Weak sort of problematic family environments, interpersonal conflicts within the family members, and several factors. Very frequently, these are children who have been neglected, who have gone through some sort of abuse, maybe domestic abuse, maybe sexual abuse, maybe some sort of trauma, or they have had parents who have been in a who have criminal backgrounds, or have not been able to provide them with a sort of upbringing which could lead them into a positive sort of life. So children learn from the environment. Children, their childhood traumas and the associated factors in their upbringing, the family environment, these could be contributing towards youth becoming, several studies in fact show that if they are exposed to things like substance abuse at a younger age, this also could contribute. If they, for example, many times in our case, we see that a lot of children during their educational phases, they do not progress as we desire. You see them that they drop out from school, or they are often subjected to ridicule or bullying. They come from deprived backgrounds, and they are not attended to when they begin to show the early symptoms of such conduct. For example, a child may be showing disobedience at a very young age. We do not attend to that disobedience. The child becomes more defiant as he or she is growing up. We are not able to attend to that. And then the child begins to show what we call behavioral problems, and we are not even attending to that. So these are all at different phases in their development. They are saying, they're actually crying out for help. Attend to them, attend to these issues. And then if perhaps things would have been different, and we keep on neglecting that, and then the child may develop conduct issues, and then antisocial issues, juvenile delinquency, and antisocial personality disorder, other factors, and then to the criminal. So it's not that overnight a child becomes, somebody becomes a criminal, or is just going to enjoy committing offense. So it's a phase, it's a development. We get time to tap this child. Is the child's ego weak? From a psychodynamic perspective, we could from a behavioral perspective, we may say, has the child learned from the environment, from the significant others, from the environmental factors? Have we not been able to provide them with good role models? Or is it something that the way they are processing information, is there a deficit? Is there something inaccurate in how they are processing information? Or is it social learning? So a lot of social learning theories define that. So some people have associated some factors like mental health factors, mental illness. In fact, some people say that criminal behavior is related to things like command hallucinations, threat control override symptoms, some delusionary. But research shows that that's a very small factor, small number of people. So it's for different people. Why you enter crime as you become a youth may be different. So we have to, be very careful on when we discuss these issues, and we cannot generalize, yet we can have a global picture. Yeah.
So the global picture states that a child does not become a criminal overnight. And there are many factors, of course.
Yes.
What are the psychological aspects of youth-led crimes from your research that you have done, and also from your interactions with criminals and also members of the youth community? What do you think about the criminal mentality of them? Is there such thing as a criminal mentality that drives you to commit crimes and do wrong in society? Does that give them a sense of superiority, that I'm better than the others, I'm more powerful, that I'm more able to get ahead in life if I do a particular crime, or if I rob someone's purse?
Yeah. Some people in our society actually seem to think that there are material benefits, in indulging in crime. For example, I have met in my studies, I have met some young people who have, in fact, I have actually met quite, young people who have said, very young children, in fact, who have said, when I grow up, I want to be, such a person. And it's a very negative role model they are projecting, somebody who you and I would say a criminal, somebody who has committed offenses, their pictures have come up. So when a child is giving this as an ambition, that's something we need to be worried. We need to, realize something has gone wrong.
We need to wake up.
We need to wake up. We need to attend to that. So often we find that they think that there is something to gain by indulging in this behavior. And even if I commit an offense, I can still, sort of go out of the system. I need not be punished. Many people avoid crime so that they avoid punishment. some psychological theories, some research does indicate that this is not the best way. As a child matures and grows and become a youth, the child or the person realizes, I am not being a positive citizen, contributing citizen just to avoid punishment. That's because I want to. I want to be a good citizen. You know, I want to be a responsible citizen. I do not want to be a criminal. You know, I enjoy doing good things. So that mental set has not crept in. Instead, we believe, okay, I am powerful. You know, I have power over others. I can get away with different things. I can, you know, and I have some gains, material, you know, fame, power over other people, and I can evade the system. So this sort of setup, and my parents are all right with it. We forgot to ask the children when they brought in money through criminal offences in a young, we forgot to ask them, my son, my daughter, how did you get this money?
Unexplained wealth.
This was not explained, this was not questioned. And they learned. So, you know, see, I have built my self-image in the family, you know, and I bring in money through crime, and it is acceptable.
There's no other way.
There's no other way, and this is acceptable. It is all right for others that I indulge in criminal activity. I bring in this money. My parents are accepting. My society is accepting. Therefore, it is all right. So the mental set sort of changes for them, and it's then, you know, sort of, this has become a definition of a lot of our youth.
The norm, sadly.
Yes, and this is learned behavior, weak egos, eroded value systems. There's inaccurate learning has occurred. You know, we were not able to provide our children, our young people with role models, more positive behaviors. Moral values have deteriorated. So it's a lot of issues of combined, you know, what we're talking about has led to a young person committing crime.
Is there such a mentality where a person or a young person thinks that because someone else is doing this crime, because someone else is in a gang, because someone else is robbing other people, it is right for me to do that as well? Is there such a mentality that you have discovered among Maldivian youth?
I feel I will not disagree with that statement. You know, often when we do something wrong, we get, you know, we have to face the consequences. But when we do wrong and when we get rewarded, and you see that occurring as a pattern, you know, the child or the young person who is growing up begin to form a mental set where you say, it is all right. It is all right for me to do these things. I can get away with it. I'm all right. You know, this is all right with others. So therefore, I continue in this behavior. You know, so this sort of feeling, I will be rewarded. You know, I am accepted. Therefore, I could indulge in it. Yes.
Very shocking. Yes. Now, today, the police released the crime statistics for the months of January, February, March, April, May, all these 5 months together. And according to the statistics, so far this year, 1,888 cases of theft have been reported. 824 cases of drug and narcotics abuse have been reported. 452 cases of violence and 229 cases of vandalism. What is your reaction to these statistics?
I have actually been going through the statistics for, you know, what has the trend over the past few years. And what I've realized is the reported incidents actually has dropped. Now, I am not going to question how that dropped or why the reported, but what we still see is in the reported incidents, number of incidents, is that it's quite high. I mean, we are just through few months into this year and you reported this number of people committing these acts, and I think our parents need to realize that it is their sons, their daughters within the community who are indulging in these behaviors. You know, are they being attended to? Are they being, you know, are they questioned? No? They've robbed somebody and brought things to their homes. Have the parents asked them? Has the system identified? System has identified. That's why it's gone into the police records. So what are the actions that have, you know, do these people think that, okay, I was caught, but I can get out from the prison door, you know, from detention, I can escape the system? Have that set into their mind, so that if that is the case, they will continue to commit such crimes, to commit such offenses. So they need to know that the system is serious. You know, when you do wrong, you get the punishment. There is a law. We have to become law-abiding citizens. And when there is a consequence for theft, for vandalism, for violent acts, I think my reaction to this is mainly to say, if young people, it is one of our sons who has committed these crimes. As parents, we need to wake up, we need to question our children, and young people need to realize that they can become better. This way of life is not good for you. There is an alternative way. There is a better way, and they can exit this path they have entered, and that is not such a bad path.
We're also talking about juvenile delinquency, which is also related to youth-led crimes, because before you are a youth, you are a juvenile. A juvenile is defined as someone who is below the age of majority. In the Maldives, it is 18 years. So someone who is below 18 years and commits a crime is a juvenile. So what is your opinion on the state of juvenile delinquency in the Maldives? What are the factors that drive this evil or this state of existence, this wrong side of the fence?
Yes, unfortunately, a lot of very young people, juveniles, they are committing offences, and it's an undeniable fact in our society today. First, I would again like to put the blame on the adults. I would like to say that there are people who are recruiting juveniles to get their criminal acts committed by the young people. So they are using young people as a tool to carry forward their own criminal activity. So we need to be vigilant about that. Another thing is, these people, as I said before, they did not become criminals overnight. They would have, in fact, in my practice, I am seeing a lot of children who shows behavioral problems, conduct issues. They have either been bullied, they have either been victimized, they are going through trauma, they have been neglected, they have shown signs and symptoms that they may be going to commit offenses. So, as I said before, they were not tapped, they were not attended, and then they commit the act. So it is scary that our young people are going, but there are adults who deliberately misuse our young children, and when they misuse them, after misusing them, we do not give them the necessary support at that time. Very frequently, very often, these young people are criminalized. Sometimes as a first offense, we can give in advice, we can rehabilitate them. We need to show them that there's another path to life. Very often in the Maldivian society, these young people are those who have completed their O-levels. Maybe their results were not so good and they could not proceed with further education, and the 16 to 18 year age gap. This is the most vulnerable time. So this group of people are being misused, and they also find that's the time they are not employed because they're underage. They have a lot of time in their hands, and as you see in Male especially, it's a very crowded place. And our neighborhood, our territorial, the gangs reside there. And it's not really gangs, these are groups. This is the brotherhood, where they feel the sense of belonging, where they are accepted, where they can go for a cup of coffee with their brothers.
Have a sense of authority.
They have a sense of authority, and then they are given some odd jobs which are criminal in nature, through which they can earn money. So this is their entry pathway. And along with this, they are also made to use substances. We are all aware, and it's a known fact. Young people are being recruited to sell drugs, and frequently they end up using drugs. So this is how juveniles are being misused, and this is why the incidence of criminal behavior is so high among our youth and juveniles especially.
You mentioned earlier that the criminals, or the young people who commit crimes, they need to be aware that there is a system which is serious and that they should obey that system. Do you think the system still holds some authority or still holds some sway over the people? Do you think people do still have confidence in the system from your research?
There are different perspectives to this. But what I would like to believe is that young people need to realize that the system holds. The system will hold, the institutions which are in charge of this system, that will hold. Today, you and I, we will age, we will pass our youth, but the institutions will survive. The rule of law must survive in Maldives, like in other countries, and we have to become law-abiding citizens. Finally, the bad guys always get caught by the cop, and they will rule.
Yes.
And those who do wrong need to go behind bars.
Yes.
They need to be sentenced, and they need to serve their sentences. And parents need to realize the son who has done wrong must, if they've got, been implicated, they need to suffer the consequences. Instead of, many times our parents, after a child is taken in, they will go and beg the authorities to release their son, they release their daughter, and they find an escape route. So in a way, parents are sort of facilitating this behavior to continue. So I think parents also need to realize what the consequences of their actions. Are they really saving their children? You go to the authority and say, release my son. My son is, different ways to bring them back home. They come back home, back to the same environment. Frequently, they reoffend. And frequently, these criminals are not rehabilitated. So the risk of reoffending is very high. And our role, therefore, doubles. I believe the institutions hold. And I believe that it has to be further strengthened, and we have to look into the gaps which are present. And I think that is happening.
And people do, and they should take the system seriously.
Yes, they must.
Let's talk about the gang culture. Let's dig deeper. Your specialty lies in the gang culture, of course, because you are a certified international gang specialist trainer, and also you were the national consultant and the lead researcher of the Rapid Situation Assessment of Gangs in Mali, which is from the Asia Foundation publication in 2012. What kind of findings did you get from this research? What were the main outcomes?
I had an interest in this area for a long time. So initially, when I started the research, I had no idea really what I was getting into. I had no clue about that this will be the nature of the report I will prepare. I went with an open mind. And what I realized, it was immense. The realization was huge. The number of youths I met, I went to their locations, their points, their coffee spots. I went and I spoke to them, I met them, I interacted with them. I hopefully understood them. And what I understood is that these boys, these girls, they are young people, they are youth. For some reason, they have entered a very dark, a very deep world of crime.
Abyss.
Yes, an abyss. And many of them are actually searching for an exit point. And the bus is so big, and there are so many passengers in this bus. They don't find the point where they could exit and they could restart their life. So in this bus where they have, in this journey of crime where they're taking together, they have found brothers, they have found friends, they have found family in them.
Trustees.
They trust each other. They trust they will stand by them. When the family, when the society is pointing fingers and saying, you are the bad guy, these people say, we are the same. We belong together, So they get that sense of belonging. They do drugs together. They go to jail together. They pass time in jail together. They share their coffees together. They share their coins together. And they have found a lifestyle together. And it's very, very difficult for us to disentangle this mess they are in for themselves. But when I speak with them individually, I feel that these are good sons. They do want an alternative pathway, but many of them feel helpless. Many of them feel that they entered the world of crime so early that today their education, it's eroded. If they cannot continue with their education, who will give them employment? They can earn much, much more through the small criminal offenses, commission odd jobs, and if something happens to them, if they're taken in, their friends from their brotherhood will find a lawyer and fight their case. So there is somebody for them. So it's multiple issues like that. And I really feel that we have still not reached the stage where, in many countries where the gangs have matured to such an extent Perhaps we are in that process. We have entered that process. But these people, these young people, youth we are talking about, still can make a comeback. I believe many of them can make a comeback.
A few years ago, briefing the police on gang violence, you revealed that a survey had shown that dangerous gangs in Mali use children between the ages 7 to 9 years for illegal activities, and that there are 20 to 30 active gangs in the 5 districts consisting of 50 to as many as 400 members, including children and youth, mostly below 25 years of age. Why is this so?
Yes.
Why is so many youngsters involved in this? 7 to 9 is very young. That's like grade 1 to 3, if I'm right.
Yes.
How come?
I still continue to ask the how come question. The first day I saw a 7-year-old boy in one of the setups I walked in the point, where I was collecting data from, I was really genuinely surprised. I really felt for that child, and I said, how come?
How come? Yes.
How come you are using this
My
boy?
question too.
How come you are using this boy for this activity? And the answer they gave me. One of the people said, Naz, we give him, we give him few drugs and ask him to go and sell. He needs that 250 rupiah per day or 400 rupiah per day, 500 to take home. Now, Naz, find a job for him. Find a way that that child could earn an income for that family. Give him CDs to sell, or give him some movies or something. Another way of employment. He will not be here. We don't want him here. If he's our brother, we don't want him to enter. But this boy needs that money, and that really shocked me. Where is that responsible parent who has sent that child after school hours or during school hours to this group? The parents are aware the child is going to this spot. He says he needs that money to pay the rent and to buy the food for the family, to the elderly family members. So I think these are also about larger social issues, about poverty, about other factors. Education discontinue. As I said, I have, after the study, I also did a project in which 79 young people, youth, were rehabilitated within the community. And when I asked them, what do they want to do other than being in this lifestyle? Many of them said, we want to go back to do our O-levels. Some of them wanted to go back to learn computer skills. Some of them said, we want to go to water sports. So we offered them courses. Many of them, few of them actually went. Some of them wanted to learn different languages so they could become, translators and people like that. But I recollect a moment when a young boy who had discontinued education, who'd been in the world of crime, had to go back to class. He was so embarrassed to go on that right path, to carry a book and a pen in hand. His hand shook and he hid the book inside his shirt. He said, it is embarrassing for me to be carrying a pen and a book after all that I have done with this hand, which I have used to commit crime. That is a hand which has used to stab people, to hurt people, to give things which would hurt and harm others.
To peddle drugs.
To knife people. And the level of training within these gangs, it is amazing. They don't like, I'm sure they don't like me when I call them gangs. They would like to be called groups, brotherhoods.
No.
Okay.
Groups.
So in some of the groups and gangs which I saw, I met young people who have gone through intensive training. In fact, in one group, they put a PowerPoint and they said, Naz, you don't know these things. We teach them. We teach them to stab, to just cause minor injury. A PowerPoint presentation. We teach them to stab in such a way that they will cause real damage to the nerves, life-threatening, or cause a disability, or it could be fatal. So, and then as they get into the gangs or the groups, they have to show that they are, they get beaten up, they have to beat others. So this is very organized. There's a hierarchy. It is territorial. There are different ways in which one gang member could identify that, okay, this person belongs to this gang. The type of clothes they wear, some accessories they wear, the hairstyles they have. Each one group can identify, okay, this guy belongs to the other group. So it's a number of issues. It's several things, and I think we as parents, as responsible community people need to be aware. These people, we are not talking about something happening away from us. It's within where I live. There is a group like this, and this is what is going on within these groups. And not all groups are violent. Some of them, I have actually met, even in different parts of Maldives, I have met groups which have gone into sports activity, more positive behaviors. So I think, hopefully, while some groups may go into criminal behaviors, others may change into more positive behaviors.
All these years of research and all these years of writing papers, presenting them at international conferences in UK, USA, Malaysia, and all these places, what kind of impact has this had on you as a person? You're mingling with gangs, criminal gangs. They are organized, they're hierarchical, they are territorial. So you are mingling with them, you go and talk to them, you see their PowerPoint presentations, and then you come back and you write your papers. What kind of impact has this had on you as a person?
I feel passionate about my work. I believe that as an individual, I can make a small difference, perhaps in the lives of a very few individuals. But when I write a paper, a lot of young people who are upcoming, budding psychologists are reading, sociologists are reading, counselors are reading, policy makers are reading, politicians are reading, concerned citizens are reading, and they will make a collective difference. And that hope is what makes me keep going. While I, as an individual, can only make, as I say, my motto is, I will try to make a sand grain of difference. And that is when an individual walks in, I tell them, come and meet me before you commit the crime. When you get the craving, when you get the desire, when you feel tempted, before committing that, come and talk to me about it. Can we delay it? Is there another way? Is there something else we could do? Can you achieve what you want to? That impulsive behavior. Is there something? Are you angry? Are you aggressive? Are you tired? Are you deprived? Are you in need of something? Let's talk about it. Let's see. And yes, many young people do walk in for that. Many young people call me mom, and that gives me immense satisfaction. Yes, I think that's a joy to see one person rehabilitated. That sort of pays off.
A very deep message there. What about parents? Here, of course, their mom, but what about their real parents? What should they do once they find out that my child has committed a crime and that he's being punished for it? What are the corrective actions?
As parents, we need to come to terms with the reality of our society. We have to understand that I can be the best mom in the world, but my son, my daughter, is growing up in this society where crimes are occurring. So even me being the best parent, it is still possible that my child is at risk to enter this brotherhood, this groups. So to come to terms that, it is not that you have failed as a parent, but that your child is in the wrong path. Come to terms. Talk to your child from early phases. Provide that brotherhood within the family. Provide your child with that feeling of belongingness within the family. If your child is disturbed, let that child first go to the mom, dad, uncle, brother, cousin, before he has or she has a need to go out and share it with the others who may put them in the wrong path. Guide them, be present for them, be available for them. And if they have wronged, if they have done even a wrong thing, let them come and share. If they bring in money, unaccountable, how did they earn? Do you want your son to grow up to be a criminal? Are you going to are you going to wait? Are you going to cover up the crimes of your son because you are ashamed? You are ashamed that others will pinpoint at you and say you have failed, your son is such and such. Do not do that. Face up to it. You will be mocked at some point, but you will be glad that you did not wait, that you took those actions. You need to attend to that without delaying. You need to see through the facade the child may put across to you that you are good, but behind the facade, behind the protection, don't delay attending to the first criminal offense. Don't cover up. Attend to that. Talk to the concerned authorities. There are people to help. within our system, there are people to help. There is so many laws, so many regulations, so many institutions, so many professionals are there. Take your child, take your young person, show them that there's an alternative. Show in the society what happened to young people when they took this path. I remember one young person who looked at me once I explained, he said, Naz, why did you not meet me? Why did you not tell me this before? If only somebody told this to me. So it's not just a parent. You as a brother, as a member of the society, we can at least change one individual. Maybe we can all make the difference to change the society. That's where our roles and responsibilities lie.
What are your suggestions or your recommendations for action for families who are so constrained in terms of finance and other things that they have to force their children into the world of crime? What are the plan B? What is the plan B for such families? What are the alternatives?
What I believe is, and many young people in fact believe, is money has to be halal. Yes. It has to be halal. And money brought in through other means, we will not use it. Despite poverty, we will manage our poverty. Money brought in through crime will take you to further poverty at some point.
Vicious cycle.
Which is a vicious cycle. And there is no end to that. At some point you will get caught. At some point you will be made answerable. And we have to actually, through the system, we have to bring people to that point. We have to confiscate that wealth which is brought in through crime. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who committed that crime. One of our sons did. One of our daughters did. Yes, we need to put them through the system. And then if there are gaps in the system, there are gaps in the system. We need to get together as citizens, come to one platform, make those necessary changes, put our differences aside when we deal with an issue such as this, and become better people, better role models for our growing children.
For our own blood.
For our own blood, for our own society, so that our paradise will remain a paradise. And people will not look at Maldives and say, what's this? What has happened to all of you?
What has happened to paradise?
What has happened to paradise? I don't think we should allow that to happen.
What do you think about the amount of research that has been done into the criminal world of Maldives? Do you think more research should be done so that more solutions can be found? Or do you think what we have now is enough?
Definitely it's not enough. We need more research, and I think it's very good that we see the statistics in the police website. Media is also quite vigilant. I think they are also covering it quite well. I think upcoming students in psychology, sociology, criminology, they need to do academic research in this. NGOs need to be focused, and we need to identify, for example, through this piece of research, we did highlight some recommendations. And I am glad to say that much of it has actually been followed up by the concerned authority.
Good news.
So it is positive. And I think trusting the politicians to do the right thing, putting the pressure so that they would do the right thing, that is the responsibility, moral responsibility of us researchers. And that is not to personalize anyone or any political affiliation, but for the sake of the nation. We have to come together and deal with our issues, especially at an individual level, at a family level, and then at a community level. And then I'm sure policymakers will be forced to think and bring in the necessary changes.
Do you have any further research plans in this field?
Yes, I hope to. In fact, I did a second study. But I believe that Maldives is not ready for the publication of that study yet.
Is it too sensitive?
It is very sensitive. And I have urged the funding agency that they should not publish this till another 10 years is at least over.
So we'll have to wait another 10 years to see your second study?
Yes.
Dr. Naz, tell us about your vision for Maldivian youth in general.
I would like to see more employment among our youth. I would like to see less school dropouts, and I would like to see young people going into careers, vocational rehabilitation projects or they become productive citizens. They take over. And they begin to realize that through crime, the benefit is less. Honesty, that halal money we can bring in, it is hard work, it is less, but it is so much more powerful, so much more nice, so much more calmer and happier we feel when we use that little money.
And it has the barakat.
It has the barakat. And I think we need, that's what I would like young people to believe, those who are already in this bus, in this journey, exit. Wherever you are now, at whatever point you are now, exit. Exit is possible.
Before the bus topples off the cliff.
Yes. Yes. Overdose death should not be your predicted,
cause of death.
Yes. Overdose or suicide, you can have a life. Life can still be meaningful. It may be difficult for many young people, but there is another world besides crime. What is the use of one brother killing the other brother? What is the use of killing for revenge, eye to eye? What is the use of harboring these negative feelings? What is the use of all these things? We all have issues. We all have challenges in life. We all have difficult moments in life. But sit back, think, can I become better? Can I do better? I think these are things which I would like to leave. Yes, you can all change. Quick money, more money, whatever I can do at the cost of anybody, this should not be the philosophy in our life. Be considerate. Considerate. Crime is when you go and violate the rights of another person, when you violate another human being. There is definitely no gain in that behavior in this world or in the hereafter. Think about it. Think about doing the difficult thing, which is right now it appears to be doing the right thing